Hello. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Lower that just a tish. Happy Tuesday. Oh, how is it already? October 21st, 2025. I feel like this year is just flying by. Happy Tuesday to you, though. Welcome to our Needle and Prose Book Lovers Club Tea Time, Tuesday Tea Time. I'm Angela with Happy Little Stitch Shop, and I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to slow down a little bit, have a little bit of a book chat, and maybe you have some tea this morning. Who out here is having tea? Anybody? Hello, Pam. Pam is ready to go. Hello, Patty. Happy Tuesday to you. Hello, Susan. Hello, Corey. Good morning, Roxana. Hello, hello. Iced tea, says Pam. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, ND Quilter. Tea every morning. So it was a bit of a hasty morning today. One of our cars is in the shop, and so we were down a vehicle, which meant a little bit more juggling today, which is no big deal. However, I did not seem to squeeze in enough time to make some tea this morning to have with me for tea time, which I was planning to do and I was really looking forward to, but it didn't happen. Coffee for Patty, coffee for Roxana. Hello, Barbara. Hello, hello. So these tea times will be pretty short. Like we'll have, maybe 20 to 30-minute conversation to touch base about how the book is going. And so they'll be pretty short. But my hope is to maybe have one of these a month just to check in and see how everybody's doing with our Needle and Prose book club. How are you guys liking our Needle and Prose book club so far? Barbara says coffee in the a.m. and tea in the evening. That's nice. That sounds very relaxing. Okay, so to refresh your memory, our very first Needle and Prose Book Lovers Club book that we are reading right now, this is our first book pick, is called Welcome to the World, Baby Girl, and it's by Fanny Flagg. Today, we're going to discuss things through page 147 because I know not everybody is like super far in the book. So I had posted in our blog post, our Needle and Prose blog post last week, that we would discuss today through page 147. So if you haven't read to page 147 and you don't want to hear what's going on, although I have some question prompts today, and none of them are too revealing as far as what's going on in the story. But just a heads up, today's discussion will be through page 147. Susan is having hot cocoa. I love it. I have not had my first cup of hot cocoa yet this year. It's 43 degrees there. What is it here? We've had warm weather, Susan. It's been a very odd fall, which has then impacted our leaf colors. They've been much more subdued because it's been dry and it's been really warm, like really warm. I think just last week we were in the 80s. Earlier this month we were in the 90s. Like it's been crazy. Right now we're 48, so a little bit warmer than you. Barbara says pretty chilly in mid-Michigan too. Burr. Patty says I'm on the Kindle book, so I'm not sure which page, but probably around a quarter of the way through, but I'm not sure. Okay. We'll start kind of towards the beginning, and if stuff starts to not sound familiar, then you might not be that far. Marcy, hello, 71 in Texas. Patty, weather same here. We're still in the 70s and very little leaf turn yet in New Mexico. Yeah, it's very odd. Corey, I had coffee mixed with high protein chocolate powder. Look at you go with your energy boost for the day. Okay, so We are reading Welcome to the World, Baby Girl, and let's jump in to get some thoughts about what we think so far through page 147. So at the very beginning, I have to ask you guys, and just a reminder, I do try to post once a week to our Needle and Prose Book Lovers Club blog, which is available through happylittlestitchshop.com. I do try to post once a week in there and post some discussion questions. And there have been a few of you, like less than a handful of you, who have been consistent responders. And I really, really appreciate that because that keeps the discussion going. It makes me feel like engaged with you guys as far as getting feedback and a response from, like, are you into the book? Are you liking it? Are you not liking it? What are your thoughts about these questions? It helps me gauge like how many people are on this Needle and Prose bandwagon, which will help me know if like we want to continue with it. Andy Coulter says just finished the book, so we'll be checking this out next. Oh, good. I hope you'll join in. Barbara says same Corey vanilla. Ooh, she put some protein powder in her coffee too. Kudos for getting this started. Hello, Patty, for getting this started. Oh, I hope you guys are liking it. I'm liking it. I'm already trying to figure out the next book, which will be announced on November 15th. Let me make sure that November 15th is a good day. It's not like on a weekend. Oh, it's on a Saturday. We won't announce it on November 15th, but we'll announce it. We'll probably do like another brief live announcement. Actually, what I'll do is I will announce it during my Friends Thursday live stream on November 13th, because that's the Thursday, and I'll be live with you guys anyway. So at the end of that live stream, I will announce what the next book is going to be. How does that sound? Otherwise, I could do a separate live into the next week. Like maybe on the 18th or something like that. Let me know what you think. So I'll plan on November 13th unless I hear like strong objections to that. So we'll add the next book announcement on November 13th during our Friends Thursday live stream. Susan said she's enjoying the club. Yay. Marcy says sounds great for the 13th. Okay, perfect. So let's jump into a little chit chat, a little book chat about Welcome to the World, Baby Girl. I have to hear, what do you guys think of Neighbor Dorothy? That was my favorite section at the beginning. That's the second section of the book. It's called The Neighbor Dorothy Show. It's like the name of that section. I would love to hear what you guys think about Neighbor Dorothy, because I absolutely fell in love with her. And I just love the feel-good show that she puts on. I love that she tries to engage with her followers and her listeners. I love that it's like easy breezy information. She throws in what's going on in the town. She throws in recipes sometimes. She asks questions. She hosts contests to like win a prize. I love it. And it's all feel good. Like that's what I love the most, and feels very neighborly, very kind of community driven, which I love. Pam says, I'm having surgery on November 17th. So I should be able to read after. Well, my goodness, good luck to you with your surgery. I hope it goes well. Yes, Neighbor Dorothy doing the radio show. It's really cute, says Patty. Love Neighbor Dorothy. I love Neighbor Dorothy. The innocence and ordinary happenings. Would love to have a neighbor. I know. That's what I loved. Like the innocence of it. It's just like, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. She is the best part of the book, says Arlene. I kind of agree. If you liked Neighbor Dorothy, then you would like the sequel in this series, which I just finished reading. And it's called, what's it called? Something about a rainbow, but it's the sequel to this book. Standing in the Rainbow, I think is what it's called. And it's the sequel to this book, and it focuses on neighbor Dorothy and her family. I mean, also, there are branches that go out similarly to this, like, there are branches that go out to different characters within the book, but, like, the primary focus that kind of flows through the book is neighbor Dorothy and her family. Barbara Johns, I saw a cute idea from book club not associated with another shop, but a TikTok for each book read. They embroider an icon that represents the book on sleeve of a sweatshirt. Ooh, that's a great idea. Marcy says, I like the whole idea of neighbor Dorothy. Me too. And so this was one of the questions on our blog, but I'm going to ask it here. So it might be repeat, but I'm going to ask it here too. Do you think that a neighbor Dorothy type show can be duplicated in today's world? Like, we're kind of doing it a little bit through YouTube, except it's not just audio, it's not just through the radio, but you get visual too. Podcasts are kind of like that, but do you think that could be duplicated today in today's world? And if so, do you think it would be that people would connect with it as much, that it would be as successful as Neighbor Dorothy's was? Barbara says, what if we design a little cross stitch, small, like a smaller stitch curve? We make patches to sew on our tote bags. I love it. That's a great idea. Okay, and plus there's give and take today, which there wasn't at that time. She just had her people, and she couldn't, unless she ran into somebody, she couldn't really hear from other people about what they thought. So I'm going to our blog right now because we did have some responses to this question on our blog post, and I wanted to read about it. Patty says, probably not on radio, since a lot of people are not listening to radio anymore. Right, I agree. Not on radio, but in today's world, radio might translate to like a podcast or potentially a YouTube. Let's see, Patty. Okay. Here's a response that was on our blog. Keep writing your responses because I would love to hear, and then I'm going to fill the time here with reading some of the responses from our blog. Number one, I think the world today needs shows like Neighbor Dorothy. I am not sure that it would draw the patronage necessary for success. A show that is all positive conversation and promotes family and community values would be a refreshing change. I agree. Sharing recipes and homey arts would also be a wonderful change for most of today's entertainment. If you could find a way to have a show like Neighbor Dorothy, count me in. I'm thinking about it. I would love, love, love to do something like that. It is possible that a show like this could be even bigger than the one in the book. With most entertainment being recorded, you are not limited to enjoy your chosen shows at the time that works best. You are not limited to enjoy your chosen shows. You can enjoy them at the time that works best for you. Here's another response. I don't think Neighbor Dorothy show would survive in today's world of podcasts, highlight reels, YouTube videos, and social media. I think the content is not relevant to young people today who have such busy lives and get their news in other ways. I don't think many of them would be interested in cake recipes or hearing someone play the piano. Maybe it would be appealing to farm wives or homesteaders who would be interested in the content and might have the time for it. I don't think it would appeal to today's millennials, but the baby boomers like myself would enjoy it once in a while. Here's another response. I think we could argue that shows like Neighbor Dorothy have progressed with time. The younger generations seem to get their information from TikTok. My daughter is always trying new recipes she finds there. Plus, I will admit that I have looked on there for cleaning suggestions, etc. Neighbor Dorothy is called an influencer now. So there's that. Here's another one. As far as neighbor Dorothy, what a joy to go back in time and listen to the simple pleasures of what's going on in community and hearing recipes and just the simple life that women had back in the day. Last night, I watched your YouTube with Lori and the fabric. Oh, recipes stole my heart. I think Neighbor Dorothy, we see a lot of ways, and the posts above this one talk about TikTok and the influencers that we have in our life today. Certainly Neighbor Dorothy was an influencer of her time. So what are your guys' thoughts? Hello, Mary from Ohio. Arlene, I think you sort of are doing it now. Do you think so? I feel like we need to have more, I don't know, more ways of connecting, of engaging. Marsh says a podcast would be an interesting idea. I think that Neighbor Dorothy show could be successful. Radio, no. However, YouTube, TikTok should work, says Marcy. I'm a farm wife. There you are. Marcia, I think I would like a softer place for my mind to land instead. Yes, exactly. That's exactly how I feel. I think we're going back to retro times. Things that were popular, like crocheting, etc., are popular now. There is a cycle of that. I think it would definitely work. Here's my other question that kind of goes along with, I think at the end of that Neighbor Dorothy chapter, they were maybe sitting on the porch having a glass of lemonade and just talking at the end of the day. Like the sun was going down, the sun was setting, and they were out on the porch having a glass of lemonade, and just kind of slowing down and chatting with each other. Oh, they were having a bowl of homemade peach ice cream. So here's the other thought that occurred to me during this, and I'm curious as to what you guys think. I feel like the bar for contentment or happiness is always moving. I feel like it's in constant change. And so this picture of, now people, the contentment or happiness for people is like the stuff you own, the toys you have, the trips that you take, the travel that you do, that kind of stuff. And back then at this time, this was a picture of contentment for them. It wasn't all about, it was just having a quiet night on the porch, having a dish of homemade ice cream or a glass of lemonade, and just relaxing and talking with your family or with your neighbors that happened to walk by at the time, because at that time, I think they talked to a few neighbors who walked by. Yeah. So what do you think about that? Do you feel like the bar for happiness and contentment or achievement, I don't know what you want to call it, is always moving? Or do you feel like it's not? I don't know. Marcy says, my grandchildren in their late 20s find a lot of recipes online, and we are really getting into some of the more homey arts. We might miss some of the generation that is turning 40, but not the under 30. Mm-hmm. So I think it's interesting to kind of stop and we talk about simpler times. And I do think that contentment, fulfillment was simpler at that time. It was a simpler, you could attain that in a more simple way. It wasn't as lofty as the attainment or the fulfillment is now. Love it, Marcy, says ND Quilter. Yes. Okay, so my next question for you guys, outside of the Neighbor Dorothy show. In one of the first chapters, so we enter book 1. The first chapter is called The News, right? Where Norma and Mackie find out about baby girl gonna come and visit. Norma is very excited. And then the next chapter is Hangover. And that's where we meet Dina. What'd you guys think of Dina? What is your first impression of Dina? Good morning, Carrie. I believe contentment changes just as the seasons of life. Oh, that's true. Could be connected to where you're at in life. See, Susan says, the older I get, the more I cherish simple things. Andy says, can't wait to read the book. I can't wait for you to read it and jump in. So Hangover is the next chapter's name, and we meet Dina. What was your first impression of Dina? Norma is a hoot, Susan, and Aunt Elner is another one of my favorite characters. The little pearls of wisdom that Aunt Elner like just floats out there. I'm like, she's right. Like that is so true. She has a very kind of down to earth, very matter of fact outlook on life. Aunt Elner does, and she cracks me up. Norma is a hoot. She's a Tish high strung, and she's very busy, very busy. Patty says it's hard to read about Dina because I had to quit drinking when I was 30, and I remember the crazy life I lived before I stopped drinking. It is hard to read about Dina. I agree. When I read this chapter, I was like, boy, this person, she's troubled. Like, what is going on? Like, I wanted to know what was going on with her. I wanted to know if she was going to get help because I felt bad for her. I felt very sad for her. At this point, I was like, I don't know, maybe I don't want to read this book. I was having second thoughts about it. But yeah, she was having a hard time. Carrie, one of my fondest memories of contentment is sitting on my in-laws porch, eating ice cream, watching the sunset, and talking with folks that walk by. Such peaceful and simple times. I agree. I love that stuff. Yes, Patty. ND Quilter says, I am so proud of you, Patty. That is a tough road. So good for you. Congratulations to you. That's a big hurdle to overcome. Marcy, I think our youth are changing. Few of them are measuring success less by how much money they will make and more with quality of life. I can see that. Comes from high school students. I know. I can see that for sure. ND Quilter says, my dad was a practicing alcoholic till he passed. That is hard. That is hard. You are welcome. That's a hard road, my friend. And so you should be very proud of yourself. But yeah, Dina is struggling at this point in the book. She is having a hard time. She's kind of lost. Yeah, there's definitely some stuff going on there for her. Marcy says, my first impression of Dina is that she is neurotic, really troubled. Yeah. She's got some, and we find out as the story goes on, we find out that she's had some tough stuff in life. So at this point, she's definitely struggling. She's lost. She's having a tough time. Not taking very good care of herself, obviously, not thinking too highly of herself, obviously. So she's having a tough go of it right now. So then my intrigue at this point was, okay, is she going to get help? Is she going to get better? Is she going to be able to come out of this dark place that she's in? Because dark places can be very hard to get out of. So that's part of what kept me reading, because I wanted to see her be okay. Dina is well-developed character in the book. She is. Her past is haunting her for sure. Yes. Okay. My next question is when Norma and Mackie find out that Dina is in fact not coming. And Dina tells this story about how she is needed for reporting in Siberia. And Norma's like, Siberia, when she's on the phone to Aunt Elner. S-I-B. Oh my gosh, I can just picture it. So my question to you, I'm curious to know, have you ever made up a story to get out of doing something that you didn't want to do? Susie, it is book club. It sure is. This is our Tuesday tea time Needle and Prose book club. Have any of you ever made up a story to get out of doing something you didn't want to do, like Dina did in this case? Hello, Susie. Let me know. I would be really surprised if somebody said, no, I've never done that. I would be really shocked if that were the case. Patty said, yeah, exactly, Pam. Who really hasn't? Yeah. Patty says all the time, I have a lot of fatigue and it's hard to explain to people, so I just say that I'm sick. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. It reminds me of Friends where Chandler is like he's going to Yemen to get out of, his relationship with Janice. It's telling, like, a big, big story. Like, you just get caught up in the story, and the story becomes bigger and bigger, and then you're stuck in it, like going to Yemen to get out of a relationship. Hey, Jude. Hello from up north. Yes. Do you remember that, Patty? He doesn't want to date Janice anymore. And so he makes up this enormous story. And then he has to follow through and he ends up flying to Yemen because she's waiting at the gate with him and she won't leave until she sees him, like sees the plane take off and sees him leave. And so he's like, I guess I'm going to Yemen. As my sister always tell, I have to go to the bathroom whenever it was time for, oh, yes. Yes, that is a for sure thing that happens. Yeah. Time to do dishes after supper, and suddenly everybody has to have a bathroom break. Yeah. Their bodies are telling them that it's bathroom time. I'm like, no, it's not. It's time to do the dishes. Okay, so the next question that I have, we kind of divert then into this offshoot of a story in New York City in 1968. The title of the chapter is called Trust Me. It's on page like 46. And we learn about Rosamond, who was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. And he went over to his friend's house for a gathering, right? And his wife was going to go and she didn't want to go. She wasn't feeling great. And so she said, you go ahead and go. And these two friends, Arthur Rosamond and Pamela Lathrop, were good friends. However, and then something ended up happening to him while he was at her apartment. And the newspapers were trying to get the spin on the story, right? Like clickbait, what is now clickbait, these salacious headlines that could be true, could not be true. We as readers don't know, but the newspaper is trying to get as big of a headline as they can. And so in this case, in the story, the headline was that Rosamond dies in love nest with his mistress, which was not the case at all in this situation. So you have this kind of slimy newspaper reporter who's trying to earn a buck, who's going around to try to unethically get this story and get people to comment on this story by paying people off to provide a quote and that kind of stuff. So my question to you, Rosamond gave us a glimpse of the manipulation that media can do to get a good story. What are your thoughts about that? I'm curious. Inquiring minds want to know, what are your thoughts about that? I mean, I think most of our thoughts are going to be pretty similar. Marcia says, fortunately, my stories weren't too convincing because I used to get roped in anyway. Marcy, I have not said the story my parents could spot a mile from 10,000 feet. However, I have thought of stories to tell. Susan, I know. Susan says, I hate that slimy newspaper reporter. I was so irked. It was such an irksome chapter. I was so irked during this part. And I was like, no, why are these people going in with him? Because he was paying him money. But it was just slimy. And I did not like it. And that poor man did not deserve that, nor did his wife, nor did I can't remember if they had children or not, but nor did their children. That's a part of media that exists, and I just don't like it. It's hard to know what information you're getting and if it's, what's true and what's not. I don't know. Roxana, slimy is the perfect word to describe him. Oh, I don't like him. He's kind of a snake. He's like a snake of a man. I have met snakes in my life, and bleh. I don't like it. So yeah, that one was not a fun chapter to read, but also I think it was trying to drive home the point of media at the time, which kind of continues to be a theme throughout this book. So I don't know. And then if we keep going forward, now I'm on page like 96, and the name of the chapter is called Old Times, set in Atlanta, Georgia in 1973. And this is where we get to meet Suki, Dina's college roommate, Suki. And so I'm curious what you guys thought. What was your impression of Suki at this time when you first meet her? Indy Quilter says, yes, news. Is it true or not? You just can't trust it, right? Mercy, the newspaper reporter, an example of what makes most news outlets not worth watching, unfortunately, I know. Oh, even then, it seemed to be the thing, you know? Wouldn't it be refreshing for somebody to start a news channel that was just all facts, just factual, no corruption, no manipulation, just like reporting the news. Like what you see is what you get. That'd be really refreshing. Yeah, nobody pulling the strings, just honest, matter of fact reporting. Everyone has had a Suki in their life. Yes. So refresh my memory because I can't remember what I thought of Suki at this time. She's super excited to see Dina. They never get to see each other. I remember that. She also seems very busy. She's married. She's got a couple kids. But she's a little bit of like a Southern higher up. I can't remember what her what her situation is. But I remember her being very, very busy. She seems bubbly with energy, and very excited to see Dina and connect with her again. And they were college roommates, and they've got some stories from their college days. Patty says there's a YouTube channel that has nothing but good news about animals around the world, so I watch that, and it keeps me happy and sane. That is nice. That sounds very pleasant. Roxana says over the top, a little bit over the top, a little bit. Yeah. Susan says Suki turns out to be a really good friend. I was doubtful for me too. I do remember feeling doubtful. Like what are her intentions here? Like I was a little bit like, I don't know. But it does turn out to be okay in the end. Yeah. Marcy says she loves Suki. Suki was a fun character for you. Okay, so then we get to meet, Suki, which is a connection a little bit to maybe some pieces of Dina's past. So that's, probably going to hear more about that as the book goes on. Then Carrie says, I loved Suki. She was so lively, honest, and such a good and faithful friend to Dina. Next is City Lights. This is on page 106. And this is where we hear a little bit about Dina's mom from Dina's point of view. So I don't remember if we had heard about her yet from somebody else, maybe mentionings here and there. But now we get to hear about Dina's mom from Dina's point of view. And this is set in New York City in December of 1951. And they talk about going to Radio City Music Hall to visit Dina's mom's friend, who is a rockette, and kind of the magic of the city at that time, at Christmas time. And it was a really exciting and kind of happy memory for Dina. What was your impression of Dina's mom at this point in the book? All facts and mostly good news. All these characters that keep coming in. So now we hear a little bit about Dina's mom. We've learned about Suki. We've learned about Norma and Mackie and Aunt Elner. And now a little bit about Dina's mom. Oh, that's right. Suki's husband is a dentist. Yes, that could be right. Marcy says that I do not think that Dina knows how well off Suki and her family are at this time. Yeah, that's probably right. I forgot he was a dentist. That's right. I loved that she had this happy memory with going to Radio City Music Hall with her mom. So that was like a bright light. Like, okay, she has some happy childhood memories. I really liked that. But I felt like, what's the story with her mom? Like, what's going on there? I felt like something like it was a little shady. It was a little suspect. I was kind of at this point, I wanted to dig deeper into what was happening with the mom. Jessica says Suki knew her mother was missing. And oh yeah, people don't know that yet though. So at this point in the book, yeah, Suki comes across as a pretty good friend, and it all comes out in the end. So Dina's mom, did you guys suspect anything like questionable? Were you thinking, what's going on with the mom here? Something seems a little off or feels a little off. Or were you just taking in her experiences with her mother without thinking about it? And then my last question, we get introduced to O'Malley. O'Malley stopped his sessions with Dina, and I'm wondering what you thought of that at this time when he said that he needed to stop having sessions with her and turned her over to a different therapist. I'm wondering what you thought about that. Answer me those questions, Dina's mom and thoughts on O'Malley and what you thought about that. Dina is only remembering the good times at this point. Yes. And then I'm going to ask you a question here at the end, and I would love for you guys to answer it in the comment section below after the video is done. And I'm going to do a blog post again for this week. And so also head on over there, read the discussion questions for the week or question, and then let me know what you think about that. Let me know your answers at that place. Marcy says Dina's mom was apparently not prepared to be a single mom. She had a lot of issues, emotional. Small wonder. So does Dina. He knew something, says Pam about O'Malley. Yes. Okay, so at this point, I would love for you to answer the question. We're going to wrap it up. And I would love for you to answer the question in the comment section below. Who is your favorite character so far in the story and why? Tell me who your favorite character in the story is so far and why. And that is going to wrap it up for our very first Tuesday Tea Time with Needle and Prose Book Lovers Club. What did you guys think of this? Did you like having a Tuesday Tea Time to discuss the book? Was it fun for you? Was it enjoyable? Would you like to do it again? What are your thoughts? He knew something. Aunt and Uncle, because they're so wonderfully innocent. Love this tea time for sure. Yay! Okay, so if you could comment below, it was fun to talk about the book, says Susan. After I finish this video, once it's all wrapped up, if you could comment below, let me know who your favorite character is and why, and let me know if you liked Tuesday Tea Time. Indie Quilter, this is so fun, even if I have not read the book. Yes, definitely again. Marcy says, at the time, I thought Dr. O'Malley was not able to deal with Dina any longer. Enjoyed this time. Yes, let's do it again. Okay, have a happy Tuesday, you guys. Hey, before I let you go, don't forget that tonight we are live for our new release party for Moda. So new release party for Moda tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. So hopefully you guys can join in to see all of the new goodies from Moda. The fabric just arrived, and so I've got fabric to share with you from new collections. So I hope you'll join in for that. Enjoy it very much. Great get together for tea time. I'll for sure have time to catch up. Oh, eviction surgery on Monday. Good luck. Hope it goes well. So afterwards, please answer who's your favorite character and why, and if you enjoyed tea time, Tuesday tea time. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you are enjoying our first book club pick. Welcome to the World, Baby Girl by Fannie Flagg. And thank you for joining me for Tuesday tea time. I hope to see you tonight at our Riley Blake or our Moda new release party. And in the meantime, have a happy, happy Tuesday. Take care, everybody.